If you can't fly, then run. And if you can't run, then walk. And if you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. Martin Luther King, Jr. You never know how strong you are until being strong is your only choice. Bob Marley. Never let what you cannot do interfere with what you can do. John Wooden. Believe in yourself and don't give up. Live with intention and die with intention. Take this life challenge and turn it into a life audit. Michelle Lagos. Get back up. Copyright Michelle Lagos, 2015. This story is based on the true account of the inspirational near-death experience of Michelle Lagos, to the best recount of facts available through medical documents, memory, and interviews. Running up a steep hill with a focused crowd. Dirt being kicked into my nose and face. We rounded the corner of the first obstacle, a webbed tightrope structure over muddy water that you had to inch yourself across to keep balanced. Next, the tire stepped through obstacles and running over the top of muddy, wrecked cars. Climbing over the slippery roofs, you definitely got the I'm on top of the world feeling you always wanted, coupled with the I hope I'm not going to break anything today feeling. Rounding the next corner, the lake had big, free floating logs we all climbed over, often throwing you off balance as your face plunged into the water with an occasional unknown body landing on top of you, or a muddy tennis shoe appearing near your face. Holding your breath or spitting out water, the wild challenge was still a flurry of fun. Without a second thought, we ran off to push through the muddy trenches, to climb the muddy walls, determined and crossing fingers. 10 obstacles, and 3 miles later, we approached mud pools with barbed wire. As I inched along my stomach military style, with my lips barely above the surface, I then jumped across a flame to the finish line, high on adrenaline and uninjured. Victory. My wing Lori and I then jumped into big stagnant water pits with hundreds of other muddy racers to shake off the caked mud layers with muddy water. Later a hose removed more. Next, the 3 important B's were the primary source of enjoyment: blanket, protein bars, and beer. Thus, the warrior's lunch. Vision, focus, will. The next couple of weeks following the race, I began hearing a watery swish in my right ear, similar to the sound effects of water entering into your ear during a shower, coupled with eardrum pressure when I drove in elevated areas around Portland's West Hills. Knowing that something was a bit off, I checked in with the doctor, and it was recommended I visit a specialist. After the specialist visit, it was decided I was grinding my teeth, and it was recommended that I begin wearing a night guard when sleeping and practicing some relaxation techniques. And check back in after vacation. Trusting the recommended specialist who didn't test for an ear infection, I moved on with life and tried to ignore the pressure until the explosion. Returning home from San Juan Capistrano vacation on November 8th, 2011, the plane began to circle Portland, Oregon, with a breathtaking fall view of Mount Hood. As the descent began, the right ear that had the occasional swish and elevation sensitivity wasn't adjusting to the pressure changes, and the inside pressure in the eardrum continued to intensify. Looking out the window at the crystal blue sky full of white cumulus clouds, which seemed like a yardstick away from my window, no amount of jaw-clicking, yawning, or chewing helped the building pressure. Unexpected sharp pain, or the loud clap of thunder that vibrated through my ear and head as my eardrum exploded. In a very elevated state of pain, and not wanting to alarm my daughter, I silenced and focused, not discussing the situation with anyone, as I calmly created a plan of action in hopes of getting to solution as fast as possible. Upon landing, I started placing tissue in my ear to absorb the blood and drainage, gathered our luggage, got the car, called my doctor, and headed straight for her office. Welcome home. Time to survive. At the appointment Dr. Lee confirmed that the eardrum had ruptured, and it simply needed time to heal and be monitored to determine if there was a need for surgery. For the time being, antibiotics, painkillers, Advil, and home was the recovery plan. Having never had surgery or desire to take medication, while leaving the pharmacy, I took one of each, crossing fingers that the eardrum would heal quickly. After that first round of pills, I sat in the car Googling ruptured eardrum stories, trying to get an average on the amount of people that were able to move through the process non-surgically, until I began to feel the hints of painkiller woo and decided it was time to get home before I got the light-headed giggles and the impaired everything. Arriving home a few minutes later, the person I was dating surprised me with flowers and a bag of groceries containing all that was needed for an amazing dinner. What a welcoming after such an explosive return. Even with the desire to push aside the apparent circumstance and enjoy the welcoming date, later that afternoon, I was flooded with a deep-seated feeling that something was severely wrong.